Hola developers, how are you today? This is my second video. I'm so excited because again, this is the second video that I do. And today I want to talk about my story before jumping into programming and coding and all the tips and tricks that I have to share with you, and obviously the knowledge. I want to tell you about my story I want to tell you about my story of why I decided to start this adventure in the programming world. So basically, I will try to be brief. Basically, I was part of a software development company, but I was not in the software development team. My role was more a customer facing role, so I took care of our customers and I was the filter between the customers and the developers. So in one of the meetings that I had, I remember that we had a customer that wanted to make some changes. So the customer talked to me. He said, okay, I need all these changes, I need all the environment or the interactions to be changed for this. I really want the invoicing part of my software to do this, to send an email, and a lot of instructions, right, from the customer and the company that he was owning. So the requirements for that company. So I remember I jumped into that call. I remember there were a few coworkers that were developers that were already in the development team. And I remember that I told him, okay, guys, the customer didn't like the things that we did, so he needs some changes. And one of them started sharing his screen, and I remember that I had somehow a paper. Was it a paper? I don't remember. I think it was a paper or my notes about the customers changes. And while I was telling all these changes, my coworker was doing them in the system, obviously with funny, weird words that I didn't understand at that time. But at some point, I was just reading my notes and I was looking at the desktop at his shared screen, and I was like, what? What are you doing? What kind of things you're doing, right? I didn't know that was I kind of knew that was programming, but I was not 100% sure about the language. So I was just so amazed about what he was doing. And we ended up doing all the changes, and I remember that I drop off the call and I was like, what did just happen? Did he really talk to a computer? Can you do that? Obviously, I know you can talk to the computer, right? But I don't know. I think I was in shock. I was surprised. I don't know. I was just like, oh my God, I want to do that. He did all these steps or all the things that I was speaking in English. He was just speaking in the computer language. I want to do that. Okay, so how do I do that? Where do I start, right? And I remember that was it. That was one of the meetings when I said, yes, this is something I want to jump into, but it will be difficult because I don't know anything about this. I come from a different world. I come from marketing, I come from design, I come from a customer facing role. So I need to research what can I do to become a software developer, or essentially a developer that creates things and that builds things. So that was when I just decided this is what I want to do the rest of my life. Then I remember I started researching, okay, should I go for Python? Should I go for JavaScript? Which I think at that time I saw that those two languages were easy to learn, were friendly, were not that complex as the rest of the programming languages. So that's why I had just my two options, right? Python or JavaScript. And at the end, I read that JavaScript is a more visual language because you can see what you are creating. And I think that was essentially my sign for choosing JavaScript. Of course, I did a few courses for Python or in the Python language, and I'm still not convinced, even though what I can say is that both are similar. Once you get used to one language, or once you're familiar with the syntax in one language, it will be easy just to go to another language. I think. I mean, at least that's my perspective right now. Let's just see in 8 months if I still think that. So, okay, I decided that I jumped into a lot of courses, trainings, articles, tutorials, and then after all that, I just had to take a break, and let me show you something that has helped me a lot. What I've been doing is I've been adding things that I want to learn and things that I have learned or I have practiced already. My journey is, let me see if you can see, yep. So my journey, as I said, it started with basic concepts, HTML and CSS, and I was just thrilled. I was happy. I was creating things. I was so happy with my decision, and I was just saying, yes, I will do this for the rest of my life. This is the best decision ever. It still is, but hold on. Once you get to JavaScript and the loops and probably jQuery and React and all this logic, you will probably say, oh God, what have I done? But bear with me just a few minutes so we can see what was my picture at the beginning. Then I think I stayed too much time here, HTML and CSS, just because I was seeing what I was doing, right? I was seeing the semantic in HTML, I was seeing the skeleton, then in CSS, I was seeing the makeup, right? And I was, wow, this is so amazing. I'm already a developer, but I was so wrong, obviously. I jumped a little bit because my main goal at that time was to become a freelancer, right? Okay, yes, I want to do this. I can tell my family or friends that I'm already a developer, and yeah, I can create websites, right? And I just learned a few platforms that do not require that much code. However, they do require some type of expertise, right, to get to know the tool. But let's get back to that part probably in another video if you are interested in learning one of these platforms. So I then went to the basic tools, right? As a developer, at least as a front-end developer, what are the tools that I'm going to use? Obviously, this part of the design for me was, I think I'm a very visual person. I try to be very creative. I love colors. I love seeing all the websites out there and all the creative developers out there that they really do great things. I'm so in love of all the creations that we and all of the developers are doing right now. So then just to get familiar with the text editors, right now I'm using VS Code, but at the beginning of this journey I started using Sublime Text. So let me see what's here. Obviously the terminal, oh my god, the terminal is just one of those things that I am still scared of. I feel like a hacker, yes, hacking the systems and doing bad things, but at the end I'm still scared of it. And I don't know, I have something that I cannot click the enter button because I think I'm going to break down the internet, and that's silly, that's crazy, but I don't know, I think I'll have to practice more in the terminal just to not feel this thing that I feel. Okay, so then obviously we have the more advanced CSS, which is the Miria queries. We have some frameworks in CSS that I've been using. I've been using Tailwind. I love it. It is amazing, and I can have a video of that if you are trying to learn it. It's not that hard once you read. I think that's the goal, or that's the challenge of this. At the beginning of this, I didn't like to read. I was just like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? Just do it. But you have to read the documentation, that's for sure. And I'm going to jump. Oh, here's the advanced part of CSS3. Oh God, what's going on? So I'm going to jump to the mental breakdown that I had, which was obviously JavaScript, right? I was so excited in this HTML, CSS part, doing everything, all the projects, showing the projects. Obviously, those were pretty nice projects, but if you really, really, really want to do amazing things, you have to have behavior, right? And that's what JavaScript is going to give you. So obviously, JavaScript is a whole different world than the world from HTML, CSS, and the designing tools and the platforms, the CMS platforms. And here, obviously, I think the DOM was difficult. I had a mental breakdown here with the ES6 major updates, with the arrow functions, with the I don't even remember, but with this part I had my mental breakdown, and I said, this is not for me, right? I was so excited, yes, but you know what, the programming world, thank you so much for showing me that this is a great community, a very supportive community, but I don't belong here. And I think it was part of my, I could say, motivation to retake the courses and retake what I was learning. But at the beginning, I was burnt out. It was a lot of information. It was a lot of articles. It was a lot of tutorials, a lot of trainings, a lot of things that my head was like, hey, see, take it easy, right? It's not going to happen from one day to another. It's not going to happen 1 month later. You have to be practicing it. Hey guys, so not sure what happened with the last video. It just stopped working. It's not working, and I'll have to fix it. So that's all for today. Subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, send me some comments down below, show some love, show some support, and follow me on my social media. And I think that's all. So I'll see you in the next video, and we'll be around. Take care, guys. See ya. Adios.